talk more about the Detroit Red Wings, we bring in their head coach, Jeff Blashill. Jeff, thanks for doing the show, first of all. We appreciate the time, especially in this condensed, weird schedule season. But Bobby Ryan is a great place to start. We all know he's capable of being such a good player in this league. But for you, what has impressed you most about the way that he's shown up this year?
Well, I think, first off, when you hear first in our franchise history at anything, it's pretty awesome. So it's a great start for him. What's impressed me most is who he is as a person. I knew Bobby just a little bit prior to getting on the phone with him this summer. And when I talked to him this summer, I talked to Steve Yzerman after I had spoken with Bobby and before we had signed him. And I told Steve, regardless if he signs with us or not, I'm really happy for Bobby. He's in a great spot. And I really think Bobby's in has a great frame of mind right now. I know he went to work this summer with a skating coach, spent a lot of time to try to get his skating up to the level that it needs to be for him to utilize his great skill set. And he's got such good hands around the net, such ability to score goals. I think he's really gotten himself in great shape. I think his skating's as good as I've seen him in a long time, and he's playing at a high level. And then just how he handles himself in the locker room has been so impressive. He does a really good job with our young guys. He's got an easy way about him, but yet he's been through lots of different things, and he can tell guys, how to do it right. So he's been a good compliment to our other veterans that we have, and a good compliment to our younger players that are starting to become the face of our franchise.
Jeff, you mentioned that Bobby did a lot of skating and went to skate school, or if you will, or camp in the summer. What about Dylan Larkin? Did he go to fight school? Because what I saw was, what was the attitude like in that room on that bench when he goes out there and he fights against one of his boyhood friends?
Yeah, one of his really good buddies. I know him and Zach are really good buddies, and Dylan told me he likes next time he's going to try to find a smaller guy, but. I think the thing with Dylan is he's got such great passion. I mean, the guys all know that about him. He has a passion to win. His compete level is off the charts. A lot of people talk about his speed, which is great, but I think his number one attribute is his inner drive and his compete. Those two things are outstanding for him. And so, he's the leader of our team. It was a very, very every game matters so much. In that game, there was a lot of energy to it. And, at the end of it, it kind of boiled over a little bit, but he's a great leader. He's done a really good job so far in the role that he's in. And it's just because he's just Dylan, being who he is as a person.
Jeff, how was it for you guys and for you as a coach? You've been in a rebuild for a while there. I know I watched the World Junior Championships really closely. The Detroit Red Wings have a number of really high-end prospects that are on the way, some already in the minor league system, some making their way into your group right now. But you added some real experienced guys. We talked about Bobby Ryan, a guy like Mark Stahl, even in goal, an addition of a Thomas Greiss. Talk a little bit, or give us your thoughts as a coach about how important it is to have some veteran guys who are good pros in that room as you continue to develop young players.
Well, it's extremely important. And EJ, if you look, over the last 4 years or so, we've traded away a lot of good NHL players. And for the purpose of trying to stockpile draft choices so that we can get this organization back to where we all want it to be, including our fan base, back to the top. And to do that, sometimes you have to make some sacrifices. And so, guys like Thomas Tatar and Gus Nyquist, and just the number of Peter Mrazek, number of good NHL players that we've traded for those picks. And, I think Steve going out this summer and finding real good veterans who can come in, kind of stabilize our team a little bit, help add to the guys that were already here, and help add to again, those young players that aren't so young anymore. They're really coming into their prime with the Larkins and the Manthas, Bertuzzis, even Philip Hronek. And I just think they've added a real good presence. The biggest thing I've noticed, probably the two biggest things, number one, we have so many fresh faces that between that and the time between we played our last game, there's been very little residual effect of the bad year we had last year. We don't really think about it. Nobody talks about it. And that's, I think, a big piece of it. And number two, I think the guys we've added all have a real calm nature to them. And so there's definitely a calmer presence on the bench. And I think that's important. At times we got too excitable as a team. And I think we've been able to maintain our calmness even when the tension's gotten high here in the first 4 games. So from that aspect, I think it's been a positive.
All right, Jeff, so you don't talk about last year, understandably so. What do you guys talk about this year? Every once in a while, we get a glimpse into a locker room, right? And we see sort of what the rallying cries are. Laviolette comes to mind with the Karate Kid references this season. What is the Detroit Red Wings sort of mantra this season in a 56-game schedule, all the games are against your division. What's the mantra? What's the rallying cry for the Red Wings?
You're going to be bored with this answer. It's we're not we don't have a lot of different things that we kind of I don't want to call them cliches because that's not necessarily the case. There's some perspectives that I want our team to kind of live by every day. But honestly, the biggest thing is we've just said, let's make sure we go out every day, we work, we compete, we execute. And I think that execution has been a big piece of what our camp was about, doing it right every single time. And I know everybody wants to do it right, but to a level that you make sure that you're really striving for perfection in every drill you do. I say to my kids all the time, are you getting by or are you getting better? And it's really the same thing with our group. Are we getting better every single day here? And I know that sounds like coach speak, but it's not. We haven't really said we're going to do this or we're going to do that. All we want to do is face the challenges that we have today. And, we're going to learn from what's happened yesterday, but then we're putting it behind us and we're going to try to get better each and every day. And that's just the reality, the way that I like to go through my business here and the reality of how I want our team to approach every single day here.
Hey, Coach, don't sell yourself short. I'm going to write that in my phone after the show. Are you getting by or are you getting better? I love that.
That's good. That's good. Well, you know what? We looked at the NHL Network a little bit ago, and we were looking at pipelines, right? The prospect pipelines for teams. And obviously your team, the Detroit Red Wings, are one of those that have a really bright future. The one thing I really noticed, I'm not going to ask you to speak on other teams' pipelines. The one thing I noticed with you guys is really unique is the phrase that comes to mind is age appropriate. The next wave of players will be coming along when you're guys you have now, your core guys, are at an age-appropriate, age. And, you understand what I'm saying? So how important is that? Because we haven't even seen the ceiling yet on, the Larkins and the Manthas and the Bertuzzis. And how important is that these guys get that leadership now for that next wave to come and support them?
Yeah, and I think I think you're right, and I think it goes back to what I said a few minutes ago, in that we made a decision back after my first year here. Ken Holland made a decision to start potentially trading away some good NHL players to gather assets, and that those assets are draft choices. And at some point, those draft choices come to fruition, and certainly not all of them do. But I think as you look at our prospect pool, I know personally that we've got as deep a prospect pool, certainly on the defenseman side, as we've had since I've been part of the organization. And I think this is my 10th year in terms of guys that have a chance to be real good NHLers. And now we're getting some young, excitable type forwards as well. And I do think they're going to have a chance to start to come into the league as the Larkin, the Manthas, the Bertuzzis, the Hroneks really become go-to type guys. I mean, they've been go-to guys for us, but as they really start to come into their own. So, Moritz Seider's a really good player that's playing in Sweden right now. That I think is real close to being NHL ready. I think he's going to be a really good player for our organization. But there's a number of others. So, my biggest task as a coach with our group is to make sure that each one of our young guys, that there is no shortcuts to success and that we're doing it right. And, I've got to demand of them that they're doing it right every single day so that we learn how to play the type of winning hockey that you can win long-term with here.
All right, Jeff, you've been through 4 games already, and you've gone through this. It's kind of this new look we have in this shortened season. And you played 2 against the Hurricanes, 2 against the Blue Jackets. From a coaching standpoint, as you look behind you at those 4 games and look to what's in front of you, because there's going to be more of these circumstances, how is it different for you and for your group to play back-to-back and then maybe 3 and 4 times consecutively against the same opponent?
Well, it's different. I actually enjoy it. I like it. It reminds me, I have a background. I've come from college hockey and from junior hockey and really the American League as well. In the American League, you play the same opponent some years up to 10, 12 times. And the rivalries get pretty fierce. And I really enjoy that part of it. And, in college hockey, we always played back-to-backs. And so, the second game can be real fierce because of it as those tensions get real high. And I think I think it adds to the game, to be honest with you. I certainly like we haven't had to travel yet, but certainly going into a city and playing 2 games is better than I think than kind of jumping around all over the place. So, I've enjoyed this year. I think the other part of it, EJ, is we went so long without playing that we would play it, to be honest with you. So, but it's been good. I really enjoyed. I think that part's been neat. COVID has its, there's a lot of obstacles obviously with that. You walk into a game, you never know for sure who's going to be eligible to play, but that's just part of what our reality is now. And like I said, we'd do anything to play. So I've enjoyed it so far.
Yeah, we're all happy hockey is back.
Oh, yeah.
That is for sure.
No
we got
doubt.
structure back to our lives. We got purpose again. It's amazing. And congratulations on the good start to the season. We appreciate the time. Best of luck rest of the way.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys.